Okay, guys, I'm really excited for all of you to be here today for my release for my new book, Happy, Healthy, Rich: The Smart Mom's Guide to Living Your Best Life. And I'm so excited to be able to share this with you because there's a lot of helpful tips in this book. So it's a lot of things to help you get your life together and do some goal planning and just dream big and say, okay, this is the perfect life that I want to have. And these are the steps I'm going to take to get there. And then I have a lot of other advice and tips along the way and some good health behaviors to help you manage your stress and to do a twofold thing here. What we're trying to do in this book, we're trying to make you happier, we're trying to make you less stressed. So, what you do when you build habits, what you want to do, you want to make new good habits and you want to take away the old bad habits. And you have to kind of do those in tandem. Otherwise, it doesn't work very well. Because if you've ever tried to just break a habit, it's very, very hard. And what you want to do, you have to have something to replace the bad habit with, or else you're just, when you get stressed out, you're just going to go right back to what you used to do before. So, like for me, for example, mine is chocolate of the afternoon. If I get stressed out, I always just am like, oh, I need my bag of chocolates. I'm going to eat 15 Reese's now and then I'll be happy. And so you have to replace that habit with something else. So, like getting an apple or an orange or banana or something that's healthy, or just eating lunch instead of just eating a bag of chocolate. So, that's kind of where this comes from. And so, what I'm going to do with you guys today, I'm going to go through basically the contents of this book, and then I'm going to read you a little bit from the introduction so you got a bit of a sneak peek about what you're getting when you get the book. And just to let you know, the book is free right now on my website for 5 days until December 5th. So make sure you get your copy now while it's free. Otherwise, it is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble as well. So, first, what I'm going to talk about in here is living your best life. So, what I go into with that is, what is your best life? That's something that kind of you're going to want to think about and say, okay, what if I could envision my perfect life? What does that look like? And then write it down, do some journaling, do some introspecting, and think about what your perfect life looks like and kind of go from there. And then we're going to do some goal setting to get you to where you want to be. So if you want to be a marine biologist, say, okay, what does it take to be a marine biologist? How do I get there? And then you're going to make your plan from that. And then after that, we're going to talk about our priorities and our values, because a lot of our life is driven by that. So, um, it's a lot of what's important to you. Is it family? Is it being outside? Is it being active? Is it what your job is? There's all kind of things that can be your priority, and you want to think of maybe like 5 things that's your priority, because if you have too many, you're not going to be able to devote your time and energy to all of them. And then use those to guide your direction as you're going forward. And I do talk a little bit about in there about how to make a vision board as well, which is a lot of fun, and I like to do that. And you can take a whole bunch of pictures if you're more of a visual person than a writing person, and just say, okay, I'm going to look through all these magazines. I'm going to cut out a picture of everything that I like, and then I'm going to stick it up there and see what my theme is. And that's what's important to me. And you can do that on Pinterest too, really easily, to make a vision board. If you're not an artsy person, you can do a lot of that and get yourself organized with your pictures that way too. And once we've defined our values, we want to figure out how to follow them in an intentional way. So that again goes back to your goals. So if your goal is to become a marine biologist and you're going to go to school, you probably don't want to take a bunch of business management classes. So you want to make sure that you're going in the direction you want to go, and you're not just saying, okay, this is what I want to do, but I'm doing all these other things instead. Because the more we put our goals on the back burner, then we don't achieve them. So we want to make sure that we're putting our goals first and foremost in front of us all the time with everything that we're doing. And that's what being intentional really is. So that's what those chapters delve into. And then I'm going to talk a lot about stress in this book too, because I think a lot of what makes our life unhappy is stress. And a lot of our stress can be eliminated. So there's a lot of physical negative impacts from stress. It affects your body, it affects your mind, it affects your coping skills. And When we're stressed, we tend to go back again to those bad habits. So we definitely don't want to do that. So coping with stress is going to be kind of interwoven through all of here too. And after that, we're going to talk about how wellness can combat stress. So I always tell my teenage daughter every time it comes around to October, which is her busy season at work, I'm like, here's some extra vitamins. I know you're working a 12-hour day. You need to make sure you're healthy. So those are the times we actually honestly tend to neglect our health the most, is when we feel tired and when our health is the most important. So the more stressed out you are, the more important it is to maintain your health. So there's a lot of tips for doing that in all the domains of your health, your physical health, your mental health, and your social emotional health. So that's like your relationships. And then after that, there's a lot of additional planning worksheets at the back of the book for you. And you can use those to revisit your goals multiple times. And if you run out of those goal planning sheets, you can always just write it down too. So once you get the hang of it. All right. So here we go. Happy, healthy, rich. I'm going to read you my introduction, your little sneak peek here, guys. This book is about learning to live your best life by reducing stress in typical problem areas. This includes health, relationships, and our finances. When we're stressed, we're unhappy, and we become short tempered, making those around us unhappy as well. Many of us are so stressed out at times that we inadvertently make choices that, while aimed at reducing our stress level, can increase our stress. This can include overindulging in things like fast food, coffee, and alcohol, or staying up late to catch up on work or schoolwork. Or we may engage in retail therapy by shopping excessively to cope with stress and find that our budget is suffering. Learning better coping mechanisms, including good health behaviors, better communication, and financial planning, can help us reduce our stress levels. Some of these same habits can help us go from barely surviving to thriving. Some of you will see about me as you go through this book as I'm a mystical soul with an analytical mind. You'll notice threads of spirituality and mysticism interwoven with facts. Life is made up of both. We experience life both in the mind and in the world. The intent of this book is to help you improve both aspects of your life. When we improve something in either our inner world or our outer world, it ends up improving both. I'm happier now because of a combination of improving my mindset, my health, my relationships, and my financial situation. It's hard to say which has the biggest impact, but I believe they all flow together. As you address your own goals, focus on your personal priorities, and realizing improving one aspect of your life will improve them all. It's just a matter of deciding what to work on first. All right, the next section is called How I Got Here. So this is going to explain a lot of how I came to be making this book in the first place, because this, like I said, is a process that I've gone through myself in the last year. So I'm really, really excited to share with you the things that I've done myself. Are you unhappy and struggling to admit it to yourself? Or does your life feel stagnant, like you're living on autopilot? I felt that way too. Outwardly, everything in my life was fine, but fine didn't feel like it was enough. I wanted things to be good. I had needs swimming below the surface that were unfulfilled. My family wasn't exactly struggling, but we were just maintaining the status quo. Our income was just enough to pay bills, but never enough to get ahead. My partner was working long hours at a job he didn't like, so we could pay some minimal bills and keep our toddler in daycare. It felt like all we were doing was working and not enjoying our time as a family enough because we were always too tired. I felt like we were working too hard and sacrificing too much to be going nowhere. I felt like there had to be a better way to go through life. So I made the goal planner contained in this book for myself to take a deeper look at my life and what was important to me. Using this goal setting process, I started to ask myself some hard questions. I asked myself, what do I really want? What makes me happy? What does my perfect life look like? How can I downsize and stop worrying about money? When I went through this process, I didn't do it alone. I talked through things with my partner at every step of the way. We talked around ideas about how to change our lives for the better. We wanted to go from surviving to thriving. Of course, the easiest thing to do would be just wait, do nothing, and maintain a life that was fine. Or we could take our daughter out of daycare and one of us could have stayed home with her, stretching our budget even thinner. For a while, we also seriously debated selling everything and moving to the country on a farm. We looked at properties, priced it all out, and watched a bunch of videos about homesteading. Ultimately, we went in another direction and were able to refinance our mortgage to get costs down. Along the way, I did some therapy and took an intensive 12-week mindset coaching program. At the start of the coaching program, my coach asked me for my goals. I told her I wanted to find inner peace. I felt like if I could get my mindset under control, I would then be able to fix everything else. She told me it sounded doable, and I found inner peace by week 4. Oh, yeah. Mind you, inner peace didn't immediately fix all your problems. You have to do that yourself. Finding inner peace creates a space for happiness. Both peace and happiness came to me through practicing yoga, mindfulness, and learning to slow down and appreciate the little things in life. It seems difficult to find happiness when we're stuck in daily worries and stress. The goal of this book is to help you reduce stress and find tools to create happiness. This can be done by building new habits to reduce stress and create happiness at the same time. It also involves breaking out of old habits that are not working. Sometimes we get these habits from our parents or do things because that's the way it's always been done. The problem with some of the habits formed that way, though, is that in our parents' generation, success was more important than happiness. Our parents thought it was perfectly normal to work a 40, 50, or 60-hour work week every week, go out on the weekend to the bar on Friday nights to unwind, and shamble back sadly to a job they hated on Monday morning. Our generation craves work-life balance and wants to experience happiness in life, as most countries have done in Europe for a long time now, instead of just surviving to face another day. We feel a hollowness in the lifestyle we learn from our parents in some cases and yearn for something more. It may seem that as stress goes down, happiness will automatically go up. This isn't really the case. We need to consciously build good habits to replace the bad, otherwise, we just end up empty. Happiness is more than just the absence of pain. Happiness comes from adding good to our lives, not just taking away the bad. You won't be happy if you starve yourself to lose weight or if you stop spending on money to pay down debt. Change like that just creates an emptiness of the bad, not the presence of good. When we try to change by just taking things away, our life becomes empty. Then we typically go back to our old habits because they're all that we know. To create lasting, positive change, we need to fill up the empty space with something good. That's why this book takes a twofold approach to both reduce stress and create happiness. So that's a little teaser for you. If you like that, definitely click the links down below and I'll get you where you can get the book. Come to my website, Millennial Mom, or Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's available everywhere now. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to write to me either here on YouTube or any of my other social medias, and I would be happy to answer your questions. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.